Welcome to Talking Technology with VI Labs. At VI Labs, we believe technology is the single greatest enabler for people with sight loss and all disabilities. If you're looking for the latest news and conversation on tech from a more accessible perspective, you've come to the right place.
Yes, indeed you have. Hello and welcome in to Talking Technology, episode number 61. We are in July, the 9th of July, 2024. Hope you're keeping well. Hope you've had a good couple of weeks. It's been a busy couple of weeks in the whole technology world. There's been so much going on, but nowhere, I can tell you that absolutely nowhere can make more announcements in the space of 2 weeks than Aira. They have made so many technology announcements in the last 2 weeks. It's absolutely crazy. They were like making an announcement a day there for a while. And we'll cover all of that and more in tech news coming up later on in the show. But do stick around. Welcome in. Hope you're keeping well, whether you're listening to us on your favourite podcast app or on the VI Live radio service, absolutely live. You're very welcome in and we're delighted to have you. We've got a great show coming up for you over the next hour or so. We're going to be talking to Martijn van der Spek. He is the CEO of a company based out of India, a company called Sparkling Apps. And Sparkling Apps are the people behind PiccyBot. Now, we talked about PiccyBot in Quick Picks going back in our last episode of Talking Technology. But it turns out maybe I may need to eat my words because, well, I kind of wrote off PiccyBot because it was all personality based and all this, and it was all, it was very posh. The PiccyBot was a bit posh, but I have since learned a lot more about PiccyBot, and it can do some really fascinating stuff with descriptions and specifically video descriptions. And we'll talk to Martijn about that later on in the show. And in Quick Picks later on, I will be giving you the first look at my brand new Rabbit R1. It came in the post, lads. It's arrived. I have got a Rabbit R1. In fact, it is in my hands right now, but I'm not going to do anything with it. I'm going to keep you waiting around, so do stick around for that. We'll talk about that later on in the show. But now let's get down to business, shall we? There's loads of ways that you can get in touch with Talking Technology as always, and here are just a few ways that you can do so. If you want to join the conversation, as always, you can get in touch with us with a WhatsApp voice note. That's probably the easiest way to get in touch, and we'll include some of your WhatsApp voice notes in a future episode of Talking Technology. All you've got to do is open WhatsApp, and you've got to go to this number, 086 199 0011. That's 086 199 0011. And then you want to send us a voice message, not a voice call, not a video call, not an audio call, a voice message. Send us a voice message to that number, 086 199 0011, and we will include it in a future episode of Talking Technology. And if you want to do things the old-fashioned way, we'd absolutely love to hear from you by email too. You can send us an email to content@vi.ie. That's content@vi.ie. Loads of ways to get in touch with us as always, and we'd absolutely love to hear from you. Now, usually at this point in the show, I will be handing over and bringing in my guest, the King of Kilkenny, Mr. Joe Lanigan. But Joe Lanigan, he's on leave today, so I've had to go from Kilkenny all the way to Portlaoise. I don't know what to call it. Apparently there's a word, I can't even say it, but it means king anyway. He's the King of Portlaoise, Mr. Daniel Dunn. Daniel, how are you?
Thanks very much for the introduction, David.
A potenate, Daniel.
Yeah, Joe is off today, but I'm not sure if Joe would hold the mantle of King of Kilkenny now. I think his heart lies a little over the border in Tipperary, and as we know, them Tipperary and Kilkenny lads, when it comes to hurling, that border is very, very important down there. So
be careful now, you can't be giving the lad two counties. He's not here to defend himself either. But
I'm sure if Joe happens to be listening on there today, he'd be champing at a bit to get back and clear up that one. So
I'm sure he is. Daniel, we did have voice notes in over the last little while, and one of the people who got in touch with us with a really interesting question and comment around the 11 Labs reader was Derry Lawler. Here is what Derry had to say.
Hi David and all, I hope you're all keeping well. It's Derry Lawler here from Dublin. So I recently downloaded the 11 Labs Reader app and I think it's fantastic. Mind you, I see all the voices, but so far Lily is my favourite voice for reading books. And I can copy my EPUB books, but I can't seem to delete anything. When I'm playing a book, I go to more and I've nothing there. There's just dismiss, or maybe eventually save will come up, but there's no way of removing stuff. So I've lots of things in there. I don't know how to get rid of them. And that's it. Keep up the good work. Great podcast.
Thanks so much, Derry. Yeah, Daniel, have you got a chance to try the 11 Labs Reader app?
I haven't, David. No, I've played with Dolphin Easy Reader, all right, and actually just before maybe we picked the answer there for Derry, just in Dolphin Easy Reader, I can a little bit of a look around the house as well to try and find a delete book title from your library. So if you have downloaded a book and you're finished reading and maybe you want to remove it off the My Books library, there's an information option on the book, and you double tap that, and that brings on another screen, and in there is a bin that you can select to delete there. So for Dolphin Easy Reader users who might have the same question, maybe I've answered that for those. For the 11 Reader, have you tried it out?
I did have a look at this, and yeah, it's kind of counterintuitive, Derry, actually. So you were going along the right track. When you double tap more with voiceover, for some reason the focus just goes somewhere random on the screen. But rather than flicking, say, from left to right, and you'll get the kind of thud to let you know that you're at the end of the list. But if you go the opposite way, so if you go backwards, as in say from right to left, then it will bring you back to the delete option. So if you double tap more and then swipe from right to left, that should bring you to delete, or at least it did for me anyway. So give that a go. Let us know how you get on. Hopefully that will do the trick. A little counterintuitive, but there you go.
Yes, I've come across that a few times. That just, and actually we'll touch on something similar later on when we're talking about the Alexa app. So it's several apps, I think when the developers updated, they accidentally change a small little thing, and it can drive voiceover navigation a little bit skew and hopefully a future update from that app maker will rectify that problem. But at least for the moment, you've figured out some way of getting around it, a workaround as we call it.
Absolutely. I mean, it's an interesting, to be fair to the 11 Labs Reader, it's decently accessible. Mm-hmm. There are little things, I think I do find it interesting, things like the play and pause, rather than speaking what the button would do, they speak their current status. So the play button would say paused, or the pause button would say playing, for example. So there's a little kind of small few bits like that are kind of interesting. I guess, it's better. I don't know whether they've got custom hints. I have hints turned off with my voiceover, but I think it is it's okay in terms of its accessibility. It's not perfect, but I do still think it's a very, very useful app. I know, going back to Joe, I know Joe is a big fan of it, and he's got a great article on the vi.ie website for Tech on Tap. You can check that out, discussing more about the 11 Labs Reader if you haven't heard about it. But it's basically a reading app with these really, really high quality voices, in some cases undistinguishable from human AI quality voices, really, really insane. You can get loads of different voices for it. And you can import documents, you can import as Derry said there earlier on, EPUBs, anything like that into the app, and it's really, really cool. It's a really, really useful app. Probably one actually that'll be very useful in education in time, Daniel.
Absolutely, yeah. There's anything that can make books more pleasurable to consume, is definitely going to be useful. And I suppose from an educational point of view, particularly with our younger students who just might not want to, mightn't enjoy particularly education books, if for listening and for audio feedback on them, it helps if you've got a lot more realistic voices. It's a little, makes the mundane task that little bit more bearable.
Yeah, you can give a silly voice
who likes
or something.
Homework? Who likes homework? Who likes going home and listening back to your school books again?
Now, like I used to love doing my Spellbound every night back in the day, Daniel. I used to love that spelling book. I used to love that thing. We had Spellbound and we had, was it Tronua, I think it was called, or something like that back in the day. Yeah, those were my great school books. I loved them. But yeah, yeah, you'd be doing them like it was so weird when I think back. It's so alien now because like when I was doing homework back in the day, like it's obviously a much slower process for someone who's visually impaired. But like, oh my God, I tortured my poor parents because it would take all night. Like, I remember distinctively reading Roald Dahl's SEO Trot with the old TVI back in the day. And
wow.
That was not a pleasurable experience for anyone involved.
No.
But there you go. So that's it. No dealing with that anymore. You could use something like 11 Labs Reader, Dolphin Easy Reader. Loads of great apps out there that are well worth trying out and exploring.
No, absolutely. It's brilliant to see more and more of these apps come on stream because every one of them innovates something new, and eventually the others will copy anyway. Will generally implement ideas down the line, but the more that are pushing these apps out there with new innovative features, it's driving it on for everyone. It keeps all the app makers on their toes, and just to be trying to stay ahead of the game, keep the latest features coming, and most of the time that just makes reading books or listening back to books for our service users as pleasurable as it can be, and long may it continue.
Absolutely. Daniel, thanks so much. You'll be back later, as always, in your regular Tech News reading capacity. We don't have Joe reading the Tech News. We didn't do a swap on it this week. But Daniel will be back later to read all of the Tech News, and we look forward to that. Now, we've got a really, really interesting one coming up for you because last week, on Talking Technology, we spoke about PiccyBot. Now, if you don't know what PiccyBot is a really interesting app that lets you get image descriptions in much the same way as something like Be My AI or Seeing AI or Aira Access AI or Envision AI or any other AI. But they do something that is really interesting and different, and you wouldn't necessarily know this to just use the free version. But what PiccyBot can do is it can actually describe video. So let's say you come across an inaccessible video on something like an Instagram or something like that, or maybe someone sent you a video on WhatsApp and it's just dreaded music. You've just got music and you're like, what is this? So you can import that into PiccyBot, and it can give you a really, really detailed description, much like something like Be My AI or Seeing AI, just with video. So as an example, just before we move on any further, what I've done is I've done a simple screen recording here. And all I've done, I'm not going to tell you exactly what I've done, but I'm going to let the PiccyBot describe what I've done. So this is a screen recording, just so you know. It's a screen recording, and here is the description from PiccyBot. So you start off with a simple little sound. You'll hear that there, and then it will start to describe, and you should hear something like this.
The video starts with a YouTube search bar. The user enters VI Labs and then clicks on the first search result. The video then shows the VI Labs YouTube channel, which has 340 subscribers and 88 videos. The channel is focused on accessible technology and has a slogan that reads, "At VI Labs, we believe technology is the single greatest enabler for people with significant disabilities." The user then clicks on the Videos tab and scrolls down to see a list of videos. There are 4 videos in the list: Talking Technology Ep 60, Voice Notes, Audio and Accessibility, Talking Technology Tribute to Michael O'Meara Charte, iPad Pro M4 and Magic Keyboard Accessibility, and WWDC 2024 Sight Loss Recap from Apple. The user is likely interested in learning more about accessible technology and the VI Labs YouTube channel.
So that is absolutely true. I am interested in learning more about the VI Labs YouTube channel. Now, you will notice there, it's not perfect. It did hallucinate some little bits there, some small details. So that tagline is actually, what it actually says is, at VI Labs, we believe technology is the single greatest enabler for people with sight loss and all disabilities, not for people with significant disabilities, which is interesting. And it did mess up, as you will hear, some of those video titles, but it does give you the gist. I did search for VI Labs, so it was a screen recording of me in the YouTube app. I searched for the VI Labs YouTube channel. It had the subscriber count and number of videos correct. We do have 340 subscribers. Thank you all so much. And yeah, it does give you a general idea, and it was able to correctly identify that it is something about, assistive technology. I've used this in really interesting applications. I came across, I was trying to do something with the smart home recently, and I came across this tutorial for it online, but it was like that. It was just a video with music and stuff like that. It was a screen recording in a video, but I was able to import it into PiccyBot and get an idea of what steps were required to actually do what I was looking to do. And for stuff like that, or just getting an idea of what a video is, it's really, really good. It's really, really impressive. Now, on that note, I caught up earlier in the week with Martijn van der Spek. Now, Martijn is the CEO of a company in India called Sparkling Apps. And Sparkling Apps are the people behind PiccyBot. And it turns out this is not their first rodeo. They have been doing apps for people who have vision impairments or who are blind for quite a while. And I did not know this, but that's why we caught up with Martijn van der Spek to talk all about PiccyBot, some of the stuff that they've done before, and the future of AI descriptive apps like PiccyBot. So here's what happened when I caught up with Martijn earlier this week. So joining me now on Talking Technology, I am delighted to be joined by Martijn van der Spek, who is the CEO of Sparkling Apps, the company that created PiccyBot. Martijn, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, David.
Brilliant. Am I saying the app name right there, Martijn? I know my voiceover pronounces it as PiccyBot, but the app is called PiccyBot, is it?
Correct. Now, the whole idea was that it was it's a picture bot, and then we make it let's make it PiccyBot to be having a unique name, and then the problem was with voiceover that everybody started calling it PiccyBot, but it is PiccyBot, yeah.
PiccyBot, awesome. So, do you want to tell me a little bit, I guess, first of all, about what PiccyBot is and where it came from?
Well, actually, about 12 years ago, I made my first app for the blind and low vision community. It was called Talking Goggles. It was also a similar idea as PiccyBot in the sense of recognizing images and then speaking it out. But it was limited at the time. But at the same time, it did result in a feedback that was very inspiring, and never realized how initially I made that app and it was okay. It will just speak out pictures. You never know. And then I got this feedback from the blind and low vision community and said that, it has changed my life, and now I can suddenly see what is in my fridge, and now I can suddenly see how to control my washing machine, and all kind of practical things that were done then with that app back then. And it was great. I mean, as a company, we've always been focusing on anything relating to recognition technology. And this was, image recognition. It was just one of the things that we were doing. And we experimented a bit with this app. Like there were, I'm talking about talking goggles. We had there were the initial smartwatches. I don't know if you remember, but they had cameras in them as well. So we made an app to hold your watch to an object, and it would then speak out what it was, what the object was. So that was all quite high tech at the time, and we were quite happy about it. But it never really caught on in a big way, and then other things. We have to pay the bills, so we focused on other things, and then slowly this more or less went into the background. But then now, let's say 2-3 years ago, the AI revolution really started, and then the idea of talking goggles was still in the back of my head, and especially since it was so well received by a small group of people, but then they loved it. And so I thought, okay, now it becomes far easier to do what we were doing back then. And and turned it into this app, PiccyBot. It is, the main concept of PiccyBot is to offer an access to as many engines as possible and many options, basically to have as much access to being under the hood as possible, so that you can turn all the switches and make it yours. And that is the basically the concept. And then from image recognition, it went to having image and video recognition, and that has become a big thing because the video is really how a lot of communication is happening nowadays. So to offer
that's where you're at right now. That's incredible, and it's a really great little app. So I think I was it fascinated me at the start, because I think the first thing that I encountered when I got the free app was that it had a real personality to it, right? We were talking about it first, and the app was almost, I guess it was kind of posh. It was funny in a way. And then we discovered that, now there is a subscription for the app, but when you subscribe to it, it gives you a load of different options. And as you say, you can really go under the hood there, and you can customize that quite extensively. But the massive part is to be able to do video. So you could share in something like basically any kind of video, and it gives you a description much like how something like Be My AI would do it, but it's able to do it with video, which Be My AI can't do. Is there limits on that, or how have you done that so far? It's pretty cool the way you've done it.
Right now, the video option is only taking the first 30 seconds of the video, and we are working on expanding that to 1 or maybe even 2 minutes. It is, but it will still be limited. It's not meant for very long movies or anything. But even this, there were some users that came back to me and they said, instead of videos taking space on my phone, it's now they turned into memories. It's amazing. And these things are so great to hear. The feedback has been really, really, really positive. That is really one of the rewarding things of making apps like this. It is, instead of complaining about features, of course, people always want to take it a step further, and it is the challenge to keep doing that. But it is really being appreciated.
That's brilliant. I do want to ask you, because the app is relatively inexpensive. So there are two options. In Ireland, I think it's like £3 a month that you can subscribe for, or you can get a one-off subscription or a one-off fee, which is around €20 here. That's relatively small in terms of the cost, but also you're using a lot of third-party AI models and stuff like that as well here. So how are you making the app sustainable? How will that work in the longer term? Because you've presumably got a team in Sparkling Apps, and everybody needs to get paid at the end of the day.
Right. No, it's true. It is, but so far it is working out. It is, the app is popular enough, and usage. It's not that there is live video or something like that. That is that we'll have to really see, because now there will be new advances in the coming time where you can really walk around and everything will be recorded like 24/7. And then that will become an issue. We can't afford that with the current models. But right now it is processing. I mean, it will. People take their time also to play with videos and to process them, and it is okay. It is. It's not that we are going to get rich out of it, but we can manage this, and at least, and if we happen to have to increase the permanent price, then the first users have had an advantage. It is, but by then the app will be popular enough to be worth that for us as well. So it is it is a balancing act, but we can manage it.
Interesting. Where do you see the app going? You mentioned to me earlier, before we started recording, that you were looking at sharing videos for the likes of Instagram and stuff like that, which have traditionally been a bit of a struggle for people who are visually impaired.
Right. Well, that is the feedback has been very much like that. Like I'm saying, you add things like adding video is fine, and it is, and now with video we can do WhatsApp videos. You can share directly to PiccyBot, and you can share Messenger videos directly to PiccyBot. But the next question is, oh no, we want to do TikTok videos, we want to do Instagram videos, we want to and I'm really hoping to get that done as well. So that it really becomes a tool that you can just have on your phone and say, okay, fine, I want to have a good description of this. And since the video feature is a bit of the standout feature at the moment, it is it is really where I want to double down on that for the coming weeks. It's
that's
and
fantastic.
then in the long run, I don't want to go back to the integration of the software and the hardware. Like I said, the initial thing that we did with these watches, nowadays everybody is on glasses, and that makes also more sense. And I'm really I've been struggling to get it to work on these Meta Ray-Ban glasses. It is and it doesn't work directly. You can make a recording with your glasses and then share that to PiccyBot, and it will speak it back to you. But it can't do it live yet. And these things are also really the point where I want to put the software in place. I mean, the end goal is, of course, to have something that you wear and that is like a live assistant walking next to you, that you can say, okay, what am I looking at? And it will warn you where you want to go, or you can ask it for instructions on, I want to walk to this place, and it will then guide you. It is that is where we are going, but we are not there yet. No.
That's fantastic. It's a really cool app, and one that is definitely, it's great to see people doing things slightly different. I mean, there is a lot of options, like there's Be My AI, there's Envision, there's all of these different apps out there now, but you're doing something really different, which is brilliant. And well done to you guys in the team. Have you got a big team over there?
No, just 3 people and myself. Yeah, it's but it's we may be able to grow as this app becomes more and more popular.
That's the hope. Brilliant stuff. Is there any other final message you'd like to get out to people? Where can they find out more about PiccyBot? Do you want to tell people where they can get the app and all that sort of stuff?
Well, the easiest thing is just to download it from the App Store or Google Play. So it's both for iOS and Androids. And the name is rather unique. So any search on either the App Store or Google Play will, it will show up. It is PiccyBot. And otherwise, you can find me, or you can go to sparklingapps.com for more information about the company. It is or contact me on any of the social media like LinkedIn or send me an email at support@sparklingapps.com.
Martijn, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, David. It's been a pleasure. And really thank you for noticing the app and picking it up. It is, I mean, it's still one of the, it's still relatively early days, and we are not as well known as some of the bigger apps like Seeing AI or Be My AI. But still, I think, like I said, I think we have a unique proposition, and I hope we can get the word out there and help as many people as possible with what we're doing.
And there you have it. That was my chat with Martijn van der Spek. A fascinating little project that they're working on there with PiccyBot. And one that, like, it just goes to show a small team can have a really big impact. We've seen that with the likes of PiccyBot. We've seen it with what seems to be a lone developer there with apps like Voice Vista, which is, of course, using the Microsoft Soundscape technology, much like Vision Ireland Soundscape community. But we've seen just, handfuls of developers around the world creating these really cool accessible experiences, and it's great to see. And they're moving fast too, like they're really embracing change super quick. Since we recorded that, Martijn and his team have already done some really cool updates. So they have actually already implemented support for Instagram video. So you can now share directly from Instagram to PiccyBot. That is going to be huge for people with vision impairments who might want to use Instagram. Traditionally a very visual platform there. So that's a big update from them. And also they have increased for premium subscribers. So those are the ones that are paying either that £3 a month, or it's $22.99 once off. But they've increased the video time to 1 minute already. It was previously 30 seconds when we recorded that, but now it goes up to a minute. So the team over there at PiccyBot are already really embracing change and really developing and moving quickly. So fair play to them on that. We will be catching up more with really cool AI products when we talk about the Rabbit R1 later on in the show. But for now, if you do want to get in touch with us, we'll be doing news in just a minute. So we'd love to hear your thoughts on anything, whether it's related to something we talk about in tech news, or maybe you want to share your thoughts about that interview or your experiences with the PiccyBot. We'd love to hear from you. Send us a WhatsApp. The number that you need is 086 199 0011. That's 086 199 0011. Or alternatively, you can send us an email to content@vi.ie. But now, let's talking technology news time with Daniel back in his traditional role.
This is Talking Technology News.
So, with your latest Talking Technology News, I'm Daniel Dunn. Vision Ireland have launched a new Bookshare skill on Alexa to provide people with easier access to the platform. You can enable the new Bookshare Ireland skill by going to the Skills and Games section of your Alexa app. Once you link your account, you will be able to have your Alexa device read your Bookshare books for you. The Bookshare library brings over 1.3 million accessible books to Alexa, so hopefully it will benefit many Vision Ireland service users. We also got the news this week that the newly released Dolphin Easy Reader version 11 now contains access to the Irish Child Vision Library. Between the new Vision Ireland Bookshare skill and easier access to books from Child Vision, it has been a good week for visually impaired and blind readers. In other news, visual interpreting service Aira have made a number of announcements in the past week. Users who subscribe to Aira's metal plans have got 10% more minutes without an increase in cost. The company added 10% to each plan and then rounded up to the nearest 5 minutes to determine the new number of minutes available. They have also committed to not raising prices for any plans in 2025, with the legacy plan holders continuing to hold on to their existing pricing. The good pricing news wasn't the only announcement from Aira this week, however, as the company seemed to make a number of big announcements in quick succession. The company is launching pilot programs for Meta Ray-Bans and ARX AI Gen 1.5. They say this integration will offer even more convenient, innovative and fashionable visual interpreting options for explorers. They are launching a new program giving free minutes to those who give feedback on the Access AI product, and they have announced a partnership with Numia Solutions, bringing their accessible remote incident manager, RAM, to Aira. That's a lot of announcements for 1 week, but hopefully all of this will come as good news for Aira customers. And finally, for now, what assistive technology would you like to see in your local library? A number of local libraries have received funding to make accessibility improvements for those with disabilities. This may involve things like hearing loops for hearing aid users, but will also include reading devices to assist those who are blind or visually impaired. The Minister for Social Protection, Heather Humphreys, said the projects that are being funded under this initiative will create a more welcoming, accessible and engaging library experience for thousands of people. This will put our libraries at the forefront of reaching out to all members of the community in which they serve. Many libraries already have devices like the C Pen, but these assistive technologies have traditionally been targeted at those with dyslexia, so haven't benefited visually impaired people much. Hopefully, this new technology will provide some really beneficial reading solutions for those with sight loss attending libraries. And that's it for now. Remember, you can comment on any of our technology news stories by sending a WhatsApp voice note to 086 199 0011. That's 086 199 0011. But for now, it's back to you, David.
Thanks, Daniel. Some really interesting stuff there. Loads of stuff from Aira. They're really just like bolting through announcements this week. But fair play to them, and fair play for not like jacking up the prices as well, because a load of people have been increasing prices. They're giving more for the same price, which is always good to hear, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of the opposite of shrinkflation, you know, where the price goes up and the product gets smaller, or you get less of it. So at least, you know, they're holding the prices the same, and they're giving you 10% extra free on minutes. And I think it's a fantastic move, because I think everybody across society, whether it's blind or low vision users, we're just all fed up with price increases. And I think an awful lot of it is just prices going up for the sake of prices going up. So this is definitely a good news story.
Absolutely. And also lots there with the Vision Ireland Bookshare skill. Now, this is so ironic. Just as we launch the Vision Ireland Bookshare skill on Alexa, there is a totally out of our control, unfortunately, some accessibility issues with the Bookshare is perfectly accessible, how dare I, with the Alexa app. So if people do want to enable the Bookshare Ireland skill, you can still do it. It's just the way you search for skills is slightly awkward. So once you go to the skills and games section, you kind of flick, and there's like an area where VoiceOver says nothing. It kind of says that the text field is dimmed or whatever, but if you flick,
that's right. Yeah,
there's an area.
It comes in just it just comes in when you're in. It's this issue actually, I suppose, just to clarify for our listeners, is only for VoiceOver users. So when you're in the Alexa skills and games and you're going to search. When you approach the search field, it's after where VoiceOver announces Discover Alexa. Then there's a swipe, and there's nothing said, and then there's another swipe, and then you hear the search field is dimmed. But if you go back to the last step where after Discover Alexa, it says nothing, that's where you double tap, and that'll allow you to search. It is a quirk.
Yeah, it's really weird and a bit stupid. And hopefully Amazon, if they're listening to this, I don't know whether Amazon listen to Talking Technology, but they should. If they are listening, please do fix that. It would be great. But yeah, like it's a great skill though to have, isn't it? It's fantastic to have. You heard there 1.3 million books, which for like a relatively small charity, like Vision Ireland is a relatively small charity in the massive scheme of things, but to have a resource like that is really incredible. So yeah, absolutely do check out the Bookshare Ireland skill.
I actually gave it a twirl, David, on Monday there, because it was kind of launched just before the weekend. So between all the hurling over the weekend, I never got a chance to try it out, but I did try it on Monday. And one thing I did like about it was when I launched it, even though I had no books added to my queue, it says I can search other books that you've recently downloaded. And in fairness, it brought up, I'd searched and downloaded a Harry Potter book, and it absolutely found it and started reading it. Perfect. And it is quite good. I like that little aspect because when you want to test out something for the first time, I just want to hear this thing work. I don't have to go back to my website or Bookshare account and download a book there, or add it to a reading list, which you can do, but it did give me that extra little feature of I can search all your downloaded books, and and it lists them out, and you just say I want to listen to book number 2 or whatever. It gives you a list. They're all numbered based on what you've downloaded. Maybe your last 10 books or something like that. So
absolutely,
thought that was quite cool. Cool. I was well chuffed with that.
That is brilliant. A fantastic thing, and well done to the team that were involved in that. A brilliant little project. Full details for this, I might as well do the plug. Full details of the new Vision Ireland Alexa skill with instructions and videos and all of that good stuff. If you want instructions, you can go to bookshare.ie/Alexa-skill. So that's bookshare.ie/Alexa-skill, and you will find full instructions there about how to get set up with the Alexa account or with the Alexa Bookshare stuff. It all links in with your MyVI account, your My Vision Ireland account. So do check all that out. And hey, if you do have any issues, do just give Vision Ireland a call and they will be happy to help as well. 1-800-911-250 as well is the number that you need there. Righto, we have loads more to talk about as well coming up in the show. But now it is time to move on, Daniel, to Quick Picks.
It's time for VI Labs Quick Picks.
And as I press the button to trigger that Quick Picks ident there, I have picked up my Rabbit R1. It came in the post last week, and I was really excited. I don't know whether you've looked into this much, Daniel, have you?
I haven't, no. I just heard that you had one coming along. Nice, is great. I look forward to hearing about this.
Yeah.
So it arrived. Now, look, I need to start off with a disclaimer. Out of the box, it is not accessible. There are some serious issues. It does not have a screen reader built in. So if you do want to set it up, you do require sighted assistance. Some of things like linking account, again, also require sighted assistance. And I don't mean like you can,
work around it with a struggle. I mean to say when it's it's completely inaccessible. It's really quite bad, which was really disappointing for me actually, because I think this device could have so much potential for people with sight loss, but just know that I would not recommend purchasing one.
Yeah.
At all, even I think in its current state, because it isn't accessible. But I do think it has huge potential, so I think there's value in showing off what it can do once it's set up, just to give people an idea. So I've got it in my hand here, and just to describe it, it's a square. So it's a flat square. So it's maybe 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches in terms of its size, and then maybe like a centimeter thick-ish. And it's made out of plastic. So if I tap this next to the microphone, like it is a kind of I don't know whether you can hear that, but it's a little plastic kind of, feels almost like a toy really, and there's a little screen on it. It's not a touch screen, well it is a touch screen, but it doesn't use its touch screen features. There is a kind of a dial that is kind of flush with the device. You can turn it easy enough. It's not clicky, but you can turn it. It's easy enough to turn. And then on the on either side, so on opposite sides, there is a button. It feels kind of like, the Apple Watch digital crown. If you've got an Apple Watch or felt an Apple Watch before, it's similar size. It's just a press button though, it doesn't turn. So similar kind of size to that. And then opposite to that, there is a USB-C charging port. So what this does is it's basically like a little AI assistant. So in its most simple form, it kind of acts like Siri. So if I just press the button, and hopefully this works and it's connected to the internet and all that. So what I can now do is I can kind of press and hold the button, and I can just say, what time is it?
The current time is 3:17 p.m.
3:17 p.m. There we go. And that is correct. So I can then, ask for more detailed stuff. So I could ask something about anything. It's kind of using ChatGPT, really. So It's quite advanced. So, Daniel, do you have any detailed query there that you'd like to ask about something really random?
Yeah, ask it when is the next Euro 24 football match?
When is the next Euro 2024 football match? We give it a second.
Searching for next Euro 2024 football match. Spain versus France today at 8 p.m. UK time in Munich.
Is that correct? Okay. Is that correct, yeah?
I think so, yeah. Spain, France, yeah. And England are on tomorrow night, so yeah.
Very good.
And it gives us Munich as well. I'm impressed with that.
Yeah, so it also has an online platform called the Rabbit Hole. Again, very inaccessible. But something that's really interesting is I can tell it something, and it will remember it. Now I've noticed with this that it sometimes forgets stuff, which is kind of interesting, but I'm going to give this a try. So let's say I might say something like, I'm just trying to think. So let's say something like this, right? So just so you know, I sometimes record a podcast with Daniel. Remember this.
Saving your note.
And
podcast with Daniel saved to the rabbit hole.
Okay, so it saved it to the rabbit hole. So now I can ask it, can you remember who I host the podcast with?
Give me a moment to remember.
Okay, let's see.
Apologies, I couldn't retrieve that information. Feel free to provide more details for better assistance.
What's my last note on the rabbit hole?
Let me see what I can find in the rabbit hole. Apologies, I couldn't retrieve your last note on the rabbit hole. Feel free to provide more details for better assistance.
Okay, so there. See, it does forget stuff, but in theory, like I've had this work. I have actually had this work.
Yeah.
So it seems like it's kind of hit and miss. But in theory, what would be really cool is you could just ask this to like save. If it worked, you could ask this to save like, you know, your appointments and stuff like that. And in theory, it should be able to remember them, and you should just be able to ask about like personal stuff. And I have had that work. It just didn't work there for some reason, unfortunately.
So it's a bit glitchy.
It is a little glitchy, and I think that's an overarching theme of this device a little bit. But hey, it's an interesting. Do you know, this is for me. It's a toy. Do you know what I mean? It's one of these things. I want to play with it because I'm a nerd. But
Is there a camera on it?
Great question. So there is a camera on it. So just above the dial, there is a little there's a little camera. You can't feel it really. You can kind of feel where the camera is, but the camera is behind a kind of a glass thing, and the camera can point either way. So the camera can point either facing forward, or it's on a motor, so it can spin around and face towards you as well. And they don't call this the camera. This is the rabbit eye, Daniel. The rabbit eye.
Okay.
Now, let's just try something. I'm just going to randomly reach here and get a piece of paper, which is a document. And then I can demonstrate how the rabbit eye works. So let's just grab some paper.
Let's hope it works better than the rabbit hole.
I mean, let's hope it does work better than the rabbit hole. So I'm just going to open a document in front of me here. And what I've got here, I hope, is just a document. And it's a simple enough document. It's an iPad review that we wrote. It's just a simple little text document. Nothing that exciting, really. It's just a basic document, right? Now, what I can do is I can basically go into the rabbit hole, into the rabbit eye, and I can just double click the side button. And if I hold it really close, you might be able to hear the little motor start, and that's the camera just spinning in. So I just press it and then press twice, and I can then turn. I don't know whether you can hear that, but
yeah, you can hear that.
That's the little motor for the rabbit eye, and I'm just going to turn that around there, and I'm hoping that I have this right. So I'm just framing up a little document in front of me, and I'm going to just press and hold. So it's like I'd ask a normal question, but remember now the rabbit eye is active, so it can see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to ask, what is this document? And then it takes a picture, and I give it a second. Let me see.
This document appears to be the specifications section of a product manual or documentation. It provides the technical details and measurements for the product, as well as the conditions of use, package contents, and regulatory information.
Okay, so that wasn't actually and I think in fairness, I think it's actually correct. I think I might have picked up the wrong piece of paper. But let me just ask another follow-up question. So I'm going to just press and hold again. Can you tell what this product information is for?
Taking a look now. Based on the information provided in the image, this appears to be the specifications and regulatory information for a device, likely an electronic device or piece of equipment. The image shows details about the physical dimensions, weight, power supply, operating conditions, and packaging contents of the device. It also includes information about WEEE, waste electrical and electronic equipment, regulations, and RoHS, restriction of hazardous substances, compliance, indicating this is an electronic product that must adhere to certain environmental and safety standards.
I mean, that's fair enough. It doesn't tell me what the product is. I think, though, that that document just may be kind of useless. Let's see if we can find something else here. It is like, it's not, what I've noticed, right, is that it's not great at like reading full documents. It much prefers to summarize stuff, if you know what I mean. I don't know whether you think that's still useful, but I think it is definitely an interesting use case, and certainly simpler, I think, for some people than something like Seeing AI or anything like that, because there is no needing to fight with a touch screen. It's all buttons at the end of the day.
That's true, yes. So somebody who likes the concept of a physical device with physical buttons is definitely going to be interested in this piece of kit. But I think they're, from the document, I would like, I think if I was getting something like that, for it to do a little bit of what Google Lookout does or Seeing AI does, is in capture a document and read it back to you. Maybe I'd like to get one in my hands, maybe to try it out, or maybe you could, David, for me, is, to say, read me this letter, if you knew it was a letter that you've got in the mail or something like that, pop it down on the table.
Let's try that now. So I've actually got the correct piece. I've got the correct piece of paper this time. So this is just an excerpt of an article from Tech on Tap. It's just a sheet of paper in my hand here, and it's just a regular article. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this down on the table in front of me, and I'm going to ask it to read this in full. So I'm going to press and hold. Read this document in full. And let's see if it does that.
Let me take a look. Thank you for sharing this document. Here are the key points I gathered from it.
So it's summarizing straight away.
Yeah.
The user has been using the iPad Pro M4 for the past 2 weeks and shares their observations and experiences. The user notes that Apple products are expensive, but they usually last a few years, which the user feels is a good investment. When upgrading to the new iPad Pro M4, the user found that they use the device every single day for work, whereas their older iPad Pro from 2018 had battery issues. The user mentions being pleasantly surprised by the Face ID feature on the new iPad, as they didn't expect to like it or find it very useful. They find that it's convenient to just press the spacebar to wake the iPad and have it unlock instantly. The user feels that the Face ID feature, while a bit inconvenient to set up initially, ends up saving them a few seconds often, which they appreciate. Overall, the document provides the user's candid thoughts and real-world experiences in using the new iPad Pro M4 over the past 2 weeks. Let me know if you have any other questions.
Very candid thoughts there.
So
it's summarizing.
It does a good summary. But still, if it, maybe if it was a letter from the hospital informing you of an appointment, you definitely don't want to miss that piece of information. If it's going to be summarized, you would hope it would gather it. It's still not the same job as Seeing AI or Google Lookout.
No, it's not.
You would have to say at the same time it's good.
It's good, and it's like, I think it's good, but it has the potential to be better, I think, is where this is going. And I think, like, what my overarching thoughts with this is, like, it's currently not accessible. Like, there's no way to change the settings or something without assistance, and things like the rabbit hole, again, completely inaccessible.
Yeah, I think they could call that the black hole for the time being.
Yeah, right now I think so. Yeah,
your stuff is going in there and it disappears.
It's I think that is kind of depressing, but it does seem to remember my name though. I have been able to ask it like my name, and it does remember. It seems to remember my name consistently, which is good. But like when I tell it, like, some stuff, it can sometimes it'll like remember for a few hours and then forget it again. And it's interesting in that regard, but there you go. So that is like my first impression with the Rabbit R1. It's really nice hardware, I must say. It does feel like, as I say, it's like it's plasticky, but it doesn't feel rubbish. Do you know what I mean? Like, it feels okay. and they were around like €180. So like compared to
that's just a very good price point, I suppose,
for what it is.
For the tech.
For what it is, and I mean, there's no subscription or anything right now. It can link to your Spotify and stuff like that. If it were accessible, it's not. I haven't been able to link it to my Spotify or anything like that. It's so you can link it to. It calls them rabbits. So I could say, play whatever on Spotify, and I'm confident I can do this now because it won't work. It'll just tell me that I need to connect to the Spotify Rabbit. So let me just, rabbits are like its apps as well. So let me just say, play Nicki Minaj on Spotify. She upset enough people during the week, so let's go for her.
She might start playing in about an hour and a half.
Please log in using the connections page on the rabbit hole.
Yeah, please log into the connections page on the rabbit hole. And it that is completely inaccessible. It can link to loads of different things. It's got Uber, it's got all of these things. Uber isn't available in Ireland, but there's loads of stuff it can do. It's just not accessible. And I think that's my logic with this. Brilliant concept if it worked.
Would it be fair to say, David, it's the concept is something like a miniature portable Echo Show or something like that?
In a way, yes. I think it's a good kind of comparison. It's a good comparison. I think the fact that it uses, if it was built well, it has absolutely potential to be that it could remember stuff like a little Echo Pocket or something. But yeah, there are going to be people say, "Oh, it's just a phone." No, I don't. I think it's different to a phone in that it's more tactile, it's simpler, it does limited things, and the idea would be that it does limited things in quite a simple way. But the problem is that at the moment, it's just got a few accessibility issues that make it unusable in that regard. But
will it be time, I suppose, for those to be ironed out and it get better?
I hope so. I really do hope it gets better because it has huge potential. If it works, it does have huge potential.
Has it got any communication capabilities? Like, for instance, could you link it maybe to, something like a Google Duo account, or, something that you could call somebody, you could ask it to call or do a video call with someone?
So there is actually a SIM card slot on the side.
Okay.
There is a SIM card slot on the side. At the moment, it has no functionality, as far as I can tell. I think its only functionality is to kind of keep it connected. It doesn't have any calling or texting capability.
So but it's for 4G
stuff. Yeah, exactly. And I think in time, definitely they could integrate with Google and messages and stuff like that. I know they've focused a lot on trying to integrate it with Gmail, that it can just take care of your Gmails for you. You could ask it to just read your email or do whatever with your Gmail, and it will be able to do that. But none of that is there yet. It's a very early stages product. Even simple things there's no way to get the battery percentage as a visually impaired person because it's I'm an AI. I don't have a battery. It does have a battery. You do have to charge it, but it doesn't know it's got a battery itself. So it's a bit funny in that way. It seems like a very early stages product, but I do hope it gets better because it's quite cool in some regards. I do like it as an idea.
Very good.
But there you
That's
go.
the Rabbit.
That is the Rabbit R1. I think we'll have to wait for the Rabbit R2 or 3. But I'm glad I have it because I do want to see how it evolves, and I think it's definitely got potential. It's just going to take a little bit of time. Do you know what I mean? But there you go.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. So Daniel, thank you so much for joining me for Talking Technology News and for voice notes earlier on. And thank you so much at home for listening. Thank you as well, by the way, a special shout out to Gunjan on the Vision Ireland Communications team. She helped get out some of the reminder emails and stuff like that today. So thank you so much, Gunjan, for your help with that. Much appreciated. And thank you to absolutely everyone who listened on VI Live or on the podcast apps. Thank you for listening. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time, as always, with another episode of Talking Technology. If you do want to get in touch with us in the meantime, please don't hesitate to do so. You can send us a WhatsApp voice note with your thoughts on anything at all to 086 199 0011 or send an email to content@vi.ie. But for now, thank you so much for listening. We'll see you again really soon, and be sure to subscribe across all your podcast apps. Have a good one and talk again soon.
Thanks for listening to the Talking Technology podcast with VI Labs. If you'd like to support our show, please visit vi.ie/donate. Talking Technology is proudly sponsored by IA Labs, the market leader in digital accessibility services. IA Labs, digital inclusion, your legal obligation.